In this video, I will explain why you need to use a tech pack for your clothing brand and exactly how to make one yourself in 2024. Your tech pack is a clear, detailed guide that your manufacturer will follow when creating any piece of clothing for your clothing brand, from your samples all the way up to your bulk. I will first explain all the information you need to include. I will then show you how I gather all this information and create my tech pack. My name is Adam. I make videos for clothing brand owners. Press subscribe to see more, but let's get right into it. So I'll explain the 8 things that we have on every single tech pack and why we have them. So first, of course, you have your garment mock-up. I'll show you in a second how you can easily create one just like this, but a 2D mock-up is crucial for showing your manufacturer exactly what you want your design to look like in a way that's clear and easy to understand. The design software that all big brands use is called Adobe Illustrator, which is free for 14 days, paired with Adam's clothing mock-up pack, which you can find in the top link in the description below. Next, you always need to specify the type of fabric and the GSM. I'll explain what that means in a second, but the 3 most common types of fabric that are used for clothing brands are typically cotton fleece, which is a cheap, comfortable cotton material used in lots of hoodies and t-shirts, cotton terry fleece, which is a higher quality alternative to cotton fleece with a sort of weaved texture, and finally, some brands include polyester in the mix, such as Fear Is God Essentials. They have got 80% cotton and 20% polyester, and that makes a sort of plastic sportswear feel. The GSM of your material is a very common term with clothing brands. This basically just means the thickness of your fabric. It stands for grams per square meter. It can be measured by cutting a square meter circle from your fabric, but basically the lower the GSM, the lighter the garment, and the higher the GSM, the thicker the garment. A normal hoodie can range from 400 to 500 GSM, and a normal t-shirt is like 100 to 150 GSM, whereas a really thick hoodie like a Yeezy Gap is very heavy and is actually double layered, so that one is 700 to 800 GSM, so that should give you a good idea of what GSM means. If you want control over how your item fits, then you need to provide some sort of custom measurements. You can either get measurements from a piece that you already own, or you can use any piece online and get the measurement guide from that. In a minute, I'll show you a good method to find unlimited size guides with examples. You will want to provide all of your logos and graphics, and you will also want to specify the size of your logos and graphics. This is something I always like to do to be really specific, but I just recommend getting a measuring tape, putting a t-shirt or a hoodie flat on a surface, and just measuring out sort of how big you want your logos or graphics to be on the item, if that makes sense. You will also want to specify the finish for your graphic, whether you just want a screen print or something a bit more different like an embroidery print or a gel print. I like to dedicate a page to my tags, labels, and packaging. I'll show you that in a minute and how to design that, but you can see here I have these Cineworld packaging examples. I think these look super clean, supposed to be like a railway ticket. You want to mention any type of hardware that you wish to include, such as a custom zipper or custom buttons, as well as your garment finish, which is the finish they apply to your garment, such as an acid wash or stone wash. This is optional, of course, but it does create a cool effect, and that is trending at the moment. Finally, I like to always provide reference images of a pre-existing item. This is just for my manufacturer to use as a reference when creating my item. Just gives me more confidence that it's going to come out how I want it to look. If you haven't got Adobe Illustrator, just Google Adobe Illustrator, or I'll put it in the link below. There's a 14-day free trial. Download this, open up Adobe Illustrator, whether you're on Mac, Windows. It's also on iPad. I'm going to first design some mock-ups, and then we will design every page of my tech pack before this video ends, so stick around. So here we are inside of Adobe Illustrator. I've got my tech pack template open here, but first I'm going to show a beginner quickly how to use Illustrator. So when you first open it up, you'll get this box. I can just pull that up by pressing File and then New. I like to set this to 1920 by 1080. That's a good size, but you can set it to whatever you want. Then I press Create. Here on the left I have my toolbar, and on the right I have my Properties tab. You'll see me use these in a second. The tools here are pretty self-explanatory, but the first one we're going to use is the Selection tool. So I'm going to open up my clothing mock-up pack, which you can download in the link below. You want to go to File, Open, and then just locate your file. Mine's here, and it will look just like this. I'm zooming in by holding Alt on my keyboard and then scrolling up, and that will zoom in, and then I'm pressing down the middle mouse button to drag around. If these controls are different on your device, I'm sure if you Google them it will tell you everything you need to know. But yeah, go through, find the category of mock-up that you want to use. I want to use a t-shirt, and I just want a basic t-shirt. I've got 6 basic t-shirts here, but I'm going to go for basic t-shirt V1. Using the Selection tool, I'm just clicking on it, right click and press copy, and I'm just going to press Control V and it's going to move my t-shirt in. I'm just sizing this up, making it bigger. I'm holding shift to make sure that it like snaps to the same dimensions. You see, if I don't hold shift, it moves all over the place. So you want to hold shift. The first thing you want to do is ungroup this. So I'm going to press ungroup and now it will be in all of its separate parts, ready to edit. Now I want to make 4 colorways. So I'll make a green, a blue, a red and a black. So first I'll make the green. I want it to be like a Brazilian sort of green. Just with the selection tool selected, select the base that you want to turn green, and down here using these color boxes you can double click on the one you want to use. So this one here is the outline and this one here is the fill. So I want to use the fill, of course. I don't really want to touch the outline, so I double click on the fill box and set this to whatever color you want. There we go. You might need to do the same for the collar. I'm selecting multiple parts by holding shift. So click one part, hold shift, click another, and there we go. To copy over the color, I just copy over this color code. It's automatically selected when you open it up, so you can just press Control C on your keyboard to copy the color code, and then when you select the different parts you can just paste this by pressing Control V and that will paste the color code. And then if you press OK, there you go. I like to make the inside of the neck slightly darker to add some depth. Because the example we're using today is Cineworld, I want to get the Cineworld logo, so I'm just going to go to the internet and type in Cineworld logo, just find it from online, and then I'm going to copy image and bring that in. Now currently this is a PNG image. So there are 2 types of graphics. You've got your PNG and your SVG, or your vector or SVG. I'll probably call it both in this video, but they both mean the same thing, vector and SVG. You can tell this is a PNG because if you zoom in it's made out of pixels, but whereas if I press this image trace button, then it is going to turn this into an SVG. So now the lines are not made out of pixels. I can zoom in infinitely, and that is how I want my logo, so I'm happy with that. In the bottom right you want to scroll down and press expand, and then you can press ungroup to separate all of these layers, and you just want to go through and delete all of these white parts and just position this logo where you want it on the t-shirt. I want this logo going across the rib cage, so I'm going to need it cut off on the edge of the t-shirt, which is good because I can show you how to use a clipping mask. So how I clipping mask this so it's cut at the edge, you first want to right click on your logo, arrange and send to back. This will send it to the back. It will send it behind the t-shirt, which is where you want it. This is the perfect setup. You now just press the base that you want to use as the mask. Holding shift, you also select your logo and then just right click and press make clipping mask. Now this is perfect, but it's just gotten rid of the color and the outline. If you try and use the normal selection tool, because of the clipping mask, it doesn't quite work. If you try and apply a color, it gets rid of your design. So what you need to do is use the direct selection tool and select on your edge, and now it will work. So the best way to get your color back exactly like this is to use the eyedropper tool. The eyedropper tool here, you just click on the edge and it will copy over the color like so. To go inside of the clipping mask is super easy. You just double click. I'm going to make this yellow for starters by just making the color yellow, and I'm going to right click and copy. I'll do one more clipping mask on the other side just like before, and using the direct selection tool I'll get the color from the other side. Now with that prepared, I can make my other colorways super easily. I'll make this one smaller for starters, make that smaller, and if I just hold Alt while I drag this, it will create another copy. So see, if I drag while holding Alt, create another copy, create this one over here, and I actually want 4 copies, so I'll make another one and another one. I want to make this one blue. To find the color, usually I'd use the selection tool, but once again, because of the clipping mask, I'll use the direct selection tool, find the edge and change this color to blue. I'll just double click to go inside the clipping mask to edit my logo. Now for this one, press this little button here is going to swap the fill and the outline like so. So now there's no fill, but there is an outline. So now it's got a yellow outline. And over here in the properties tab, which I kind of hinted at earlier, in appearance, you can change the thickness of your stroke. So I'm going to set this to 1.5, and to do the same to the other side, I'm going to use my eyedropper tool once again and just select on that path, and it will copy over all the attributes. So now that I have made a mock-up of each of the 4 colorways that I want to create, I want to create my tech pack. So first I'll just show you how to save your work. So to save this, just go to File and press Save. Just call it whatever you want. I'm going to call this Summer T-shirt Samples. You want to go to the first link in the description to download my tech pack template. Once you've got this downloaded, I'm going to navigate to where I've downloaded it, open Adobe Illustrator files. I'm going to use the top one here. It comes included with 3 example tech packs, and it also has all the pages saved individually, as well as the PDF files if you're using Photoshop or Procreate. I'm going to open up the all pages master with all the pages in one, and basically you can just start going through and customizing your tech pack. I'll go through and design this tech pack so you can see the process. I'll start with my cover page. We've got 9 pages here: a cover, measurement guides, colors, garment details, graphics and logo specifications, reference images, tags and labels, packaging, and extra details. So that all of the pages that we've got. I'm going to start off by just bringing in my mock-ups into my cover page. So I'll select all of these, right click, press copy, go back into here, press paste. These are currently all ungrouped. What I'm going to do is just group these in their individual t-shirts like so, just so they're easier to move around. There we go, I'm happy with that. There's only 2 more tools on here that we're going to use in this video, but one of them is the text tool. It's this T here, and this is simply for editing the text and adding any of your own text. But you can just click on this text we've got here. You can add your company name, so I'm just going to type Cineworld like so, and you want to go through and fill out your header with all of the details that we mentioned at the start of the video. So for main fabric, I want this to be cotton fleece. For my fabric finish, I'll just keep this as none. I want it to be a brand new t-shirt, super clean. For the season is summer 2024. You can move this red box around to select what size you want your manufacturer to create. I just want to create a sample of each colorway, and I want these to be in large, so I'll place that on the L. The date is the 4th of July. For the description, I'll do Cine graphic print t-shirt. There we go. You can also swap out my logo. If I just delete that, I'll just bring in this Cineworld logo, and that is your first page done. The next page we've got is our measurement guide. For this, you can just use any colorway. I'll use the green, holding Alt once again to create a copy. Make this bigger, and I'll do the same for the back. This is the stage where you can add your custom measurement guides. If you don't provide a custom measurement guide, your manufacturer will just use their default blanks, which is fine, of course, if that's what you want, and you can just leave this page blank. But if you do want to add a custom measurement guide and you do want control over the fit of your item, then the little trick that I always like to use, you can basically go to any website and they're going to have a full size chart that you can use. Like for example, gallery depth. If I just click size guide here, then I've got all the dimensions that I need. But if you don't have a website in mind, one that I always use is essence.com, and here you can just search up whatever you want. So I'm going to write in t-shirt, and there's unlimited t-shirts to pick from, all of which I've got a full size guide if you just click on size guide. So you can take these dimensions. I'm just opening up the snipping tool on Windows. This is just like to screenshot basic. I'll copy this over, move this up. These red things here are for you to use. I recommend just filling out the headers as you go through the pages. You can get it to like 10 seconds if you just copy and paste. We've got these little red bars here to use as our indicators. So you can just move these over and resize them like so. So I want one there, one on my shoulder. If you change the size of them and they change thickness like this, then just use the eyedropper tool and click on one of the other ones and it will go back to normal. You can select all of these and holding Alt, copy them over to the other side. Should match up perfectly. There we go. I'm only creating a size large. To easily create text, I just copy another piece of text and use that. Select the text tool. Measurement 1, we have our shoulder. Measurement 2, we have our sleeve. Measurement 3 is our chest. And finally, we have the length. I'll just move this down so I can see it. But my shoulder is 17.5 inches. Make another copy of this. My sleeve is 8.75 inches. My chest is 20.25 inches. And the length is 26.75. And what you want to do is use these indicators down here, holding Alt again to make a copy, and just drag the number 1 next to the top option. Same with the number 2, number 3, and number 4. And you can just start dragging these measurements over to where they belong. And if you want to highlight anything, you can copy over one of these highlight boxes. I'm going to bring it over to where it says large. Now, as for your colors, we've got 4 colorways, so I'm just going to have to figure out how I lay these out. As for colors, when it comes to clothing, whereas you can just put the normal color code that we used before, and you can place that inside of here and use that, and you can just type like green and change this box like so. That is how you can do it, but the only problem is this color here. When it comes to dyeing clothes, they do not have the millions of colors on this color picker. The colors that they do have access to are called Pantone colors. If you Google Pantone colors, then you can see all of the Pantone colors online. You can also buy the physical pieces of cardboard that people use. These are good for seeing the colors in real life. There are also websites that do hex to Pantone, which is able to get this hex code and refer us to all of the similar Pantone colorways, and you can go through and pick. I think 354C looks pretty much exactly the same, so that's what I'll go for. And in here I'll just put Pantone 354C, and there we go. That is how it is done. I'll go through and do that for all of the colorways. And for black, if you just want it to be pure black, then you can just put Pantone black. There we go. I just do my graphics in normal hex code. The next page is garment details. This is where you just want to put any other details. This could be hardware, for example, or you might want to just reiterate a fabric finish or anything like that. You put in garment details. In this box, I'll just mention the fabric again and the GSM. Your graphic and logo specifications page is where, like I said before, you want to give them your graphics separately. So I'm just going to make this nice and big, and I'll copy over one of these and make it across the bottom. Like I said before, a good trick for easily getting the measurement of your graphic, if you use like a measuring tape, ideally like the one that's like made out of rope, you want to get your measuring tape and just measure out how big you think your logo is going to be on the surface of a t-shirt or on a hoodie. I'm going to go for 22 inches. I'll just make that red. There we go. For reference images, this is just for putting any reference images or pre-existing items that your manufacturer can use as a reference or as a guide. Here I've got this image of a Bape t-shirt that's got a similar type of wraparound effect, so I send them that. I'm also just going to Google direct to garment print. This photo shows off the texture that I'm going for. Once again, just use the indicators, drag this over and make another copy over here. I feel like if your samples come back bad, a lot of people like to blame the manufacturer, but I have seen some pretty bad tech packs. We've got 3 pages left: tags and labels, packaging, and extra details, which we might not even use. So I'm bringing in tags and labels from the pack on my website. My tags, I'm gonna have a tag for each colorway, so I'm just gonna drag these 4 down here so I can see them. I want one to be blue, one red, and finally one black. And I'm just gonna use a clipping mask. I want this to be big across the thing as well. I think that'll look quite cool. Just like that, bring that to the front, make clipping mask, and I'll just place this in the center. Labeled all of these for all of the colorways. I'm just going to design my neck label. I'm going to make it black. You can provide measurements for this as well. I'm going to, because I want it to be quite thick, but this is up to you. You can let them figure it out if you want. Now finally, the final step we have is packaging. I'm literally just using the shape tool, the text tool, maybe a clipping mask for the text, but that is pretty much it. You can see exactly what I'm doing here. Use the extra details page as a reference image page for the packaging, and here we have our tech pack complete. It is made. We've gone through every single step of how to create this, and all you need to do now is just save every page, which is super easy. You can export this all as one big graphic, but I don't really recommend doing that. I recommend exporting each page individually as a PDF. I'll select the cover page, just drag and select, go up to file, go to export selection. You can name it. In here I will name this Sinner Summer Tee Cover, and here you want to change the format to PDF. So select PDF, you can change where it's saved to there, and then you just press export asset. I'm going to go through and do this for every single one. And with them all exported, you just want to go to Google and search combine PDF. This one's good, smallpdf.com. I've used this one before. Just press choose files, locate where that's all saved to. It will be here. I'm going to select every single one and just press open, and here they all are, and then just press finish. This is now merged all of the pages. You can see them all merged. You can press download this to wherever you want, but you now have got the perfect tech pack to send to your manufacturer. They can go inside this tech pack and take all of your logos. They can break it apart. Like you can see, I can select all of the text and all of this. I got more examples here. You've got this Hellstar New Era hat. The same thing with this gel print hoodie. The print is gel print and it's distressed. The download link to my tech pack and examples are in the link below. I'm glad everyone's enjoying the videos. I'm seeing all the comments and everything like that. Press subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'll see you very soon in the next video.